exam week. You're stressed out, you're nervous, you're tired, you're annoyed, you're frustrated, you're just done. This speech is going to tell you everything that you need to have a successful exam week and do very well in all of your exams. First things first, it doesn't matter if you haven't started studying yet. You need to get this through your head. You need to believe in yourself. Now, it's corny to say that, but it's very true. If you keep telling yourself, I can't do it, then when you're studying, you're not going to retain any information, and you really can't do it, and then you are going to fail. So if you believe in yourself, and you say, no, I can do this, I just need to put in some time and some effort, then you're going to be fine. Next, when you actually get to studying, first, make sure all you have your study supplies. There have been times before when I have said that I'm going to be pent up in the library for 6 or 7 or 10 hours, and I realized that as soon as I got to the library and out of my car, that I didn't have my laptop or I didn't have my iPad. Like, things that I needed to study, I didn't have. So first, before you go anywhere, make sure you have all of your study supplies. But second, find a good place to work. Some people do really well doing their work in their room. I'm not one of those people. I prefer to go to the library, and I like to sit in a study room with a friend. Usually, I prefer that I have like 2 or 3 friends in there, and I like at least one of them to be studying the same thing as I am. That way we can bounce questions and ideas off each other, but otherwise, I would prefer that there are different people in there studying other things. That way we're not going to talk to each other much. But just get away from things that will distract you. As far as studying with friends go, that's not something that distracts me, but it easily distracts other people. If you need to leave your phone or other electronic devices at home, that's obviously recommended. And then make a to-do list or a study plan. They're very helpful. I kind of run my life on to-do lists, and it goes pretty well for me. If you're writing a paper for finals, I know a lot of English classes, some history classes, psych classes, whatever, a lot of them are going to make you write a paper. So when you're given your prompt or your assignment, whatever, make sure you develop a really good topic. Do a little bit of research online first. Something may pop into your head and you're thinking that, oh, this is going to be a great topic, but then when you start to do your research, you realize, maybe this wasn't the best idea. So do a little bit of research before choosing a topic, and that'll really help you when you're writing your paper. Next thing, I know it sounds very elementary, but you absolutely should lay out your paper before writing it. I still think it's very elementary, and sometimes I struggle with laying out my paper because I feel like I don't need to do that, but you really do. It's really going to make sure that everything flows well, and you can move things from place to place without having to copy and paste it in a Word document and accidentally deleting the entire thing, which I have also done before. And then, of course, if you have any questions, go and talk to your professor. That's what their office hours are for. I actually have a professor right now, and she's on maternity leave for the rest of the semester. Her baby is coming sooner than expected, and she said that she's available for electronic office hours pretty much any time of the day because she's just sitting at home doing nothing. So she's like, I'm available from 8 a.m. until about 6 p.m. and I think that's commendable. Most professors aren't that flexible with their time, but I guess because she's home, she can do that. But back to the point, ask for clarification when necessary. Your professors are more than happy to work with you, and they're really going to appreciate you coming to them rather than waiting until the last minute or possibly even doing the assignment incorrectly because you just assumed otherwise. Make sure that when you're studying that you're focusing on key concepts and formulas if you're studying science or math. Of course, the little things are still very important to what you're studying, but the key concepts of what you'll be tested on primarily are going to apply to a broader range of questions, so the key concepts are what you really should be focusing on. Make flashcards and things like that with the key concepts and formulas, and that'll really help you retain a lot of that information as well. One thing that I've always found very helpful for me is to take practice exams. Some of my professors give out practice exams left and right, and they're more than willing to give out the answer keys, and they just think that practice exams are the best things in the world and that's how everyone needs to study. So many professors will give them out throughout the semester and some only give them out at the end, but either way, absolutely great study tool. I highly recommend using them. If your professor is not willing to give out a practice exam, maybe because it's too similar to the exam that you're going to be taking, use a previous exam. A lot of classes you're going to be taking tests throughout the semester, and if it's a cumulative final, why not use those tests that you took throughout the semester? Make sure that when you're taking these practice exams that you're making significant progress. If you are continuously getting the same grade that you got earlier in the semester, or if you're doing worse, you know which key concepts that you need to kind of buckle down on and really study harder. And of course, when you're taking these practice exams, make sure that you time yourself, because, just like in class, exams only allow so much time. So you can't be sitting there taking your calculus exam for 7 hours, because you know that when exam time comes, you're not going to get 7 hours to take this exam. Something really important that a lot of people don't think about when they're studying for exams is that you need to allocate time for breaks. Of course, procrastination is going to happen. It's very natural, but make sure that you keep that to an absolute minimum. A lot of people also think that pulling all-nighters is okay. I've definitely pulled a couple all-nighters before, and it's really hard the next morning, when you're still going at it, but sleep is really necessary, especially if you're trying to retain a bunch of information. You want to get a good night's sleep so that you're well rested and you can actually kind of access that information that you're retaining. Another thing people seem to think is that you don't need to eat while you're studying. They think, oh, I don't need to really get up and go to the bathroom because I'm not drinking any water, and I don't need to sleep, I'm just going to be here all night. No, you need to make sure that you're drinking the right amount of fluids. Make sure you're drinking water, especially if you're drinking coffee, because that'll be dehydrating you. And then you also want to make sure that you have a snack break. I don't know about you guys, but there's no way that I can focus if I'm starving. Like, if my stomach's growling, all I want to do is order a pizza. Fortunately, we can have pizzas delivered to our library, but at the same time, just make sure that you bring a snack. Granola bar, Cliff Bar, what have you, make sure that you have that there. And then another thing, it's also kind of silly, but make sure you talk to someone during your study breaks. If you're just constantly, let's say you're studying biology or something, and you're just constantly looking at all these little numbers and formulas, and you get up and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the bathroom, that's my break, and then you come back, don't ignore your friend that you bumped into on the way to the bathroom. Like, make sure you talk to him or her, especially if they're studying the same thing. For all you guys are actually stuck on the same problem, and you guys can try and work it out together, or even better, maybe they know what you're struggling with and they can explain it to you. So just make sure that you talk to people. And then of course it's also going to keep you at ease. They could say that they're kind of having a hard time too, or they can give you, a bit of encouragement on that class, say, oh, the exam's really not that hard, don't stress, like, it's okay. So just keep all of that in mind for when you're studying and, planning your study breaks. Alright, so the day has come, and it's now your test time. You're about to walk in, you've got your pencils, you've got your Scantron, you're good to go. You're panicking, your heart is racing, your professor starts handing out the tests, and you're just looking, and you're like, alright, maybe I can do this, maybe I can't. You can. Do not panic. Remember everything that you worked so hard to study, okay? This is not the end of the world. It's just an exam. You can absolutely do it. One thing that my parents have always told me when I stress about exams is that if college were easy, everyone would do it. And as you can see, not everyone is in college, because it's not for everyone. And, you're going to have triumphs and you're going to have failures, and hopefully your triumphs outweigh your failures, but at the same time, just remember that if you do happen to have a failure, that it's okay. You're not the first person to fail. Not saying you're going to fail your exam, just saying remember everything that you studied, and just relax. Go in there with a can-do attitude, and you're going to do great. Now, you finished your exam, you've looked it over, made sure all of your marks are heavy and dark, and that every single circle is absolutely perfect with a number 2 pencil, and that you filled in every single question, and blah, 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 all those little requirements that your professors like. Well, you go up to the front, you turn in your test, and you walk out. Did you do well? Of course you did. Now guess what you get to do? You get to celebrate.